Lily Carter wakes to muted sunlight filtering through the thin curtains of her modest room at Greenwood Pines nursing home. The walls are pale cream with framed black and white photographs, memories of her youth lining the space above the bed. A small wooden dresser holds a few personal items, an old gold locket containing a faded photograph of her late husband, a well-worn leather journal, and a porcelain teacup chipped at the rim. As the early morning silence settles, Lily rises slowly from her bed, the thin hospital gown brushing against her legs. She shuffles over to the window, her slippers making soft sounds on the linoleum floor. She breathes in the quiet, listening to the distant clatter of breakfast trays and the murmur of residents greeting the day. Her fingers brush against the window pane, cool glass contrasting with her warm, frail skin. She remembers mornings at home when sunlight would dance across ivory piano keys as she practiced Chopin etudes. Those days seem distant now, like a melody she can no longer recall completely. Lily moves to her nightstand, where her black-rimmed reading glasses rest atop a small stack of sheet music, yellowed with age. She adjusts the glasses and picks up a pencil, slowly tracing the musical notes as if trying to resurrect them. A gentle tremor runs through her hand, but her eyes, the same kind gray-blue eyes that once brimmed with passion, still shine with longing. As she sits at the small writing desk by the window, she opens her journal and writes a few lines in delicate cursive, describing her dream of last night. A grand concert hall filled with applauding strangers and her fingers effortlessly gliding over the keys. She pauses, remembering the applause's warmth, then closes her eyes, letting the memory linger. A nurse gently knocks on the door and enters, placing a tray with oatmeal and tea on the bedside table. Lily nods in acknowledgement, offering a faint smile. The nurse adjusts Lily's blanket, making sure she is comfortable. "Good morning, Mrs. Carter. Breakfast is here," she says softly. Lily thanks her and turns her gaze back to the window, lost in thoughts of music and moments long past. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the rest of the story. At 10 o'clock, Lily's daughter, Linda Carter, age 55, arrives for her weekly visit. Linda enters the room briskly, dressed in a tailored gray coat and carrying a leather tote bag filled with paperwork. Her dark blonde hair is pulled into a neat ponytail and her expression is polite but distant. She plants a quick kiss on Lily's cheek, barely stopping to observe the faint tremor in her mother's hands. "Mom, I had to run some errands in the city," Linda says, placing a takeout coffee cup and a store-bought pastry on the bedside table. "Thought you'd like a cranberry bran muffin." She glances at Lily's journal but says nothing. Lily nods, her eyes flickering with gratitude. She reaches for the muffin but hesitates, sensing her daughter's hurried energy. Linda perches on the edge of the bed, scanning her smartphone. "Work's been crazy," she says, scrolling through emails. "I'll be leaving early tonight. Emily has a recital, remember?" She saves a photo of her daughter, Emily Carter, age 16, standing in a modest auditorium, violin case in hand. Lily smiles at the photo but feels a pang of sadness. She's only seen Emily twice in the last 2 months. The memory of holding her granddaughter's hand at age 8, teaching her a simple melody on the piano, feels like a lifetime ago. "Is Emily coming later?" Lily asks quietly, trying not to let disappointment show. Linda looks up, her expression momentarily softening. "She's probably busy with school, maybe next weekend." She squeezes Lily's hand for a fraction of a second before standing up. "I have to pick up some reports, but I'll see you on Friday." Without another glance, she moves toward the door. Lily exhales slowly, clinging to the last warmth of her daughter's presence. As the door closes, she lowers her gaze to the muffin, wondering if Emily even remembers the lullabies she once played on the piano that lulled her granddaughter to sleep. Lily closes her eyes and drifts back in time to a cold December evening, 1960. She is 18, seated at a grand piano on a small stage in a local auditorium. Her long chestnut hair, now silver, falls past her shoulders, and her fingers glide effortlessly over the ivory keys. The audience is hushed, captivated by her rendition of Debussy's Clair de Lune. Her heart pounds with exhilaration as the final notes echo through the hall. Applause erupts and she bows, tears of joy welling in her eyes. Backstage, a teenage Linda, 10 years old, wearing a simple blue dress, runs to her mother and hugs her tightly. "Mama, that was beautiful!" She beams with pride, her bright brown eyes shining. Lily ruffles her daughter's hair and lifts her onto her hip. "Thank you, darling. You watched me play?" She smiles, voice warm, motherly. Linda nods vigorously, puffing up with pride. Lily holds her daughter close as her father, George Carter, age 50, hugs them both with pride. "I always knew she'd make it far," he says to Linda, ruffling her hair. "You're part of her gift, sweetheart." Lily's heart swells. In that moment, music, her gift to the world, feels deeply woven into family, hope, and love. Back in the nursing home room, Lily's shoulders tremble slightly as she exhales. She opens her eyes and presses her fingertips to her closed eyelids, searching for that fleeting spark of joy she once felt standing under the stage lights. The silence returns, and with it comes an ache. That world of applause and warmth has faded, replaced by the sterile routine of Greenwood Pines. Back in present day, the clock ticks toward midday. Lily sits alone at a small round table in the common room where a few residents sit scattered around, reading or dozing. A television mounted in the corner plays a cooking show in muted tones. Lily picks at an untouched bowl of tomato soup, stirring it absent-mindedly. Every now and then, someone glances her way with a sympathetic smile, but most seem absorbed in their own worlds: dementia, arthritis, or simply resignation. She pulls out her leather journal and flips to a blank page. With a shaky hand, she begins to sketch a simple piano keyboard. The keys are roughly drawn, but the proportions are right. As she sketches, tears gather in her eyes until she grips the journal with both hands, wiping them on her shawl. A flash of frustration. Why can't she play anymore? Why does the memory of music slip like sand through her fingers? A volunteer, Marcus, a college student with a gentle demeanor, brings in a tray of crackers and small jam jars. He offers one to Lily. She smiles gratefully, taking a strawberry jam packet and spreading it on a cracker. It tastes overly sweet, but it anchors her. Marcus sits for a moment and asks if she'd like to join the upcoming sing-along. Lily shakes her head, forcing a polite apology. She doesn't want to break down in front of strangers. Marcus nods and gently pats her hand before moving on to other tables. Lily's gaze drifts to the sheet music she always keeps tucked under her pillow. A single piece, Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major. She touches the corners of the sheet, remembering the contours of each note, the way her fingertips once knew the subtle weight of each key. She inhales sharply, savors the memory, and then tucks the sheet back into her pillowcase. The room's hum feels distant, as if she's listening to someone else's life. That evening, Lily's granddaughter, Emily Carter, age 16, arrives. Emily is tall for her age, with chestnut hair falling in gentle waves and hazel eyes that flicker with both curiosity and anxiety. She wears a school uniform, a navy blazer with the Greenwood High insignia, a white blouse, and a plaid skirt. Her violin case is slung over her shoulder, and she carries a worn sheet of music in her hand. Emily hesitates at the doorway, taking in Lily's small room. The pale creamy walls, the faint scent of liniment, and the cluster of framed photographs all loom softly around her. Lily rises slowly from her chair, clutching her journal as if it's a lifeline. "Emily," she says in a voice that's calm but laced with hope. "Thank you for coming." Emily swallows, approaching slowly. She sets her violin case down and brushes a strand of hair behind her ear. "Hi, Grandma," she says softly, tugging at the edge of her skirt. Her gaze flickers to framed photos of Emily as a toddler on Lily's piano bench, a younger Lily smiling beside her granddaughter. Emily's cheeks flush. She looks away. I had to practice," she murmurs, pulling out a folded sheet of music Vivaldi's Spring from the Four Seasons. "My teacher wants me to perform it. I played last week at the church recital." Lily's eyes soften as she steps forward, extending her hand. "Would you play for me now?" she asks gently. Emily hesitates, biting her lip. I don't have my music stand," she says, scanning the room. "And it's late." Her shoulders slump. Lily's heart tightens. She remembers the day she taught Emily her first notes on the piano, how Emily's face lit up when she finally played Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Lily offers a small smile. "That's okay, just play a few bars, anywhere, on your lap." Emily exhales and lifts her violin to her chin. She positions the sheet across the violin case and begins to play, her bow drawing breathy notes in a small but familiar melody. Lily closes her eyes and listens, her chest tightening as the music threads through the stillness. With each note, her past and present converge, her daughter's neglect, her husband's absence, and her own fading world. Emily finishes the phrase, glancing up. Lily opens her eyes, tears shining. Beautiful, Emily. Thank you. After Emily finishes playing, silence hangs in the air. Lily gently motions Emily to sit beside her on the edge of the bed. Do you remember when I taught you to play Twinkle, Twinkle on my old upright piano? Lily asks. Emily nods, swallowing. I remember. You said music was like painting with sound. Her hazel eyes shine with a mixture of pride and sadness. I wanted to learn as much as I could. But then her gaze drops. You know, life got busy. Lily's lips quiver. She reaches into her shawl pocket and pulls out a small, leather-bound book. Lily's journal from decades ago. This was my recital program, she says, opening it to a page where, in neat cursive, she wrote the titles of the pieces she played. She points to a small sketch of a piano keyboard in the margin. Your mom and dad gave this to me on my wedding day. I wrote notes here for each piece. She traces the letters with a geriatric finger. I want you to have this. Emily's eyes dart back to the book, surprise and emotion flickering on her face. She gently takes it, noticing the pages are slightly crinkled, edges yellowed. Emily lowers the journal onto her lap. Grandma, I'm sorry I haven't come more often, she says, voice trembling. I got caught up with the orchestra, school projects, friends, but I miss playing with you. Lily clasps Emily's hand. I know, sweetheart. I forgive you. Her voice cracks slightly. Everyone gets busy, but sometimes, in the quiet, it gets lonely. She exhales, tears pooling in her gray-blue eyes. Promise me, when you play, you'll think of me. Emily nods, wiping her eyes. I promise. They hold each other's hands in silence. In that moment, Emily realizes how much she took for granted. Lily's unwavering patience, her gentle guidance, and the profound love woven into each note taught. The journal now rests between them, a connection between past and present. Later that evening, Linda returns unexpectedly, her face drawn and tired. She strides into Lily's room, where Lily and Emily sit quietly. Emily's journal rests in her lap, and Lily's hand gently holds Emily's. Mom, Emily says cautiously. Linda's eyes flick to the journal in Emily's lap, and then to Lily's tear-streaked face. What's going on here? She demands, her tone sharp. Emily hunches her shoulders. I came by to see Grandma, she says quietly. Grandma gave me her old journal. Linda's jaw tightens. Emily, I told you to focus on your practice. You can't be spending all evening here. She steps forward and reaches for Lily's hand. Mom, you need to rest. I have to file a late report, so Emily and I will be leaving soon. Emily stands quickly, stepping between her mother and grandmother. No, Mom, I want to stay. Grandma and I were talking. Linda's face hardens. Emily, don't talk back to me. She glances at Lily with thinly veiled frustration. I'm doing what's best for you. Linda snaps at Lily. You need professional care, more than I can give. Lily furrows her brow, pain and disappointment etched on her face. I just want my family, she says softly. Her voice cracks. Is that too much to ask? Linda steps back, exhaling heavily, her expression flickering between guilt and anger. Mom, I have bills to pay, work obligations, Emily's future. Emily's eyes flash with anger. She turns to Linda. You promised you'd try to be here more often. You said you'd take care of Grandma like she took care of you. Linda's face flushes. Emily, don't lecture me. She looks at Lily one last time. I'll see you next week, she says curtly. Without waiting for a reply, she marches out, leaving Lily and Emily in stunned silence. In that hush, Lily's frailty seems more exposed. Emily kneels beside her, cradling her hand. Grandma, I'm here, she whispers. Lily's lips twitch into a faint smile. That's enough, darling, she says. You're here, and that's all I need. The next morning, Lily wakes with a sense of heaviness in her chest. She feels dizzy as she tries to rise from bed to fetch her journal and open the window. The bright morning light seems harsh, and her vision blurs. She clutches the bed rail but slips onto the floor with a soft thud. Panic surges as she presses a buzzer hanging by the bedside. Within minutes, Nurse Jessica and Nurse Mendez rush in. Lily lies on the floor, breathing rapidly. Nurse Mendez kneels beside her, checking her pulse. "She's pale," Mendez says. "I'm calling an ambulance." Lily's hand trembles as she tries to speak. "Just sit with me," she whispers, eyes half closed. The ambulance arrives swiftly. The paramedics gently lift Lily onto a stretcher, ensuring her head is supported. Lily's gaze flickers to the door, where Emily stands in the doorway, eyes wide with fright. Emily rushes forward as her mother, Linda, also appears in the hallway, alarmed by the commotion. "We're taking her to St. Mary's," a paramedic says kindly. Emily steps forward, placing her hand on Lily's shoulder. "Grandma, I love you," she whispers. Lily's gray-blue eyes focus on Emily's hazel eyes. "I love you," she murmurs. In that brief moment, all the family tensions fade away, replaced by the simple, raw bond between grandmother and granddaughter. At St. Mary's Hospital, Lily is admitted to the cardiac care unit. The room is stark white, with metal rails on the bed, monitors beeping steadily, and a single window overlooking a brick wall. Emily sits in a plastic chair, clutching Lily's hand. Her violin case rests on the floor beside her. A half-empty paper cup of water sits on the bedside table. Lily's eyes flutter as she processes the sight of the hospital room. The thin hospital gown hangs loosely on her frail frame. Her breathing is shallow but steady. Emily gently tucks a stray lock of silver hair behind Lily's ear. "You're going to be okay," she whispers, though her voice wavers with uncertainty. Outside the curtain, a doctor enters. Doctor Morales, a kindly woman in her early 50s with warm brown eyes. She checks the charts, then turns to Emily. "Your grandmother experienced a mild heart attack. She's stable for now, but we need to monitor her for a few days." Emily nods, tears welling. "Can I see her?" The doctor steps aside, allowing Emily to lean closer. "She's resting now, but you can stay as long as you like." Linda bursts into the room moments later, breathless. Her face is pale, guilt and fear mingling in her expression. She stops at the doorway, staring at Lily's frail form. Emily turns, tears streaking her cheeks. Linda rushes to Lily's side, dropping into a chair across from Emily. "Mom, I'm so sorry," she says, voice cracking. "I should have been there. I should have taken better care of you." She reaches for Lily's hand. Lily's eyes open slowly, focusing on her daughter. Lily whispers, "I know you tried, dear." Her hand trembles as she reaches toward Linda. Linda closes her eyes, happiness and regret mingling. "I'll never leave you alone again," she promises, pressing her forehead against Lily's. They both inhale, leaning on each other in mutual forgiveness. Emily rises and places her violin case next to Lily's bed. She lifts her violin and begins to play a soft, comforting melody, a fragment of Chopin's Prelude in E minor. The delicate notes flow through the sterile room, weaving hope into the stillness. Lily's eyes drift closed, but a small smile appears on her lips. Linda's tears fall freely as she listens, her body shaking with emotion. For a moment, time stands still, unified by the healing power of music and unconditional love. 1 week later, Lily is discharged and returns to Greenwood Pines nursing home, but things have changed. Emily visits daily after school, bringing her violin and new sheet music for them to share. Linda adjusts her work schedule to come by every evening. The common room now hosts small, impromptu recitals, Lily humming a familiar tune as Emily plays Spring by Vivaldi on a borrowed digital piano. Other residents gather to listen, smiles on their faces as if they remember what music feels like. Early that morning, Lily sits by her window, the same window from the first scene. A gentle breeze rustles the thin curtains. She opens a small leather notebook, her original journal, and flips to a new page. Using a steady hand, she begins to notate a simple melody, dedicating it to Emily and Linda. Each note is drawn with care, as if imprinting her gratitude onto the page. Emily arrives, violin case in hand. "Good morning, Grandma," she says softly. "I brought my new piece, Satie's Gymnopédie No. 1. I want to try it for you." She sits on the narrow bench beside Lily, placing the violin on her lap. Lily's gray-blue eyes glisten with pride. I can't wait to hear it. As Emily raises her bow, Linda enters quietly, carrying Lily's favorite tea. She pours a steaming cup and hands it to her mother. I made sure to get it just right, she says with a small smile. Lily lifts the cup, inhales the fragrant lavender blend tea, and takes a slow sip. Emily begins to play. The soft, dreamlike notes of Saadi fill the air. Lily closes her eyes, a serene smile spreading across her face. The music flows gently, intertwining past regrets, present comforts, and future hopes. Linda watches both women, her chest tightening with love and remorse. She steps forward and gently places a hand on Lily's shoulder, then turns to Emily with a nod of gratitude. When the final chord fades, Lily opens her eyes and wipes a tear from her cheek. Thank you, she whispers. Thank you for bringing music back into my life. Emily slips her violin case onto the floor and leans in to hug her grandmother. Linda stands behind them, wrapping her arms around both, forming a circle of renewed love. Outside, sunlight streams through the window, illuminating the pale cream walls now adorned with new photographs, Emily's recitals, family moments, and Lily's handwritten sheet music. The nursing home room feels alive, no longer a place of quiet loneliness, but a haven of shared memories and newfound hope. Lily Carter squeezes Emily's hand and then Linda's, breathing in their warmth. In that moment, she knows she is no longer unheard. Her music may have been silent for a while, but now it resonates again, in every note, every smile, and every heartfelt gesture. The recital may never be in a grand hall again, but it plays on in a humble nursing home, echoing the power of forgiveness, family, and the unwavering human spirit. Thank you for joining Lily's journey. If her story touched your heart, share it with someone you love, and remember to let your own song be heard.